Sam Harrison stumbles across a text on his wife Katie's phone, a passionate message from a stranger signed only with the initials RD, furious yet calculated. Sam uncovers that this man isn't just a lover but a dangerous criminal kingpin holding Katie in a web of blackmail. Armed with cunning and desperation, Sam plots a revenge that could destroy them both. But is he ready to sacrifice their daughter's future for justice? Sam Harrison, a 38-year-old architect with a knack for designing elegant homes, pulled into his driveway in suburban Washington earlier than usual. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the manicured lawn, and the stillness of the neighborhood felt oddly heavy. He'd left the office early, hoping to surprise Katie, his wife of 15 years, with a quiet dinner at their favorite Italian place. But as he stepped through the front door, the house was silent. No hum of the TV, no clatter of dishes, just an eerie quiet that set his nerves on edge. Katie's purse sat on the hall table, her keys carelessly tossed beside it. Sam frowned. She was home, but where was she? He called out softly, "Katie? You here?" No answer. His footsteps echoed as he moved toward the kitchen, then paused. Her phone lay on the counter, screen glowing with a notification. Curiosity tugged at him. Katie was usually glued to her phone, so why leave it here? He picked it up, hesitating. They'd always respected each other's privacy, but something about the moment felt wrong. The screen showed a text from an unknown number. "Can't wait to see you tonight." Same place? Sam's stomach twisted. His thumb hovered over the screen, then pressed. The message thread opened, revealing a string of texts that hit him like a punch to the gut. Flirtatious words, cryptic plans, and a photo of Katie smiling at a man he didn't recognize, a man with sharp features and a cocky grin. Sam's heart raced as he scrolled. The messages spanned weeks, detailing secret meetups and affectionate exchanges. The man's name was Marshall, a charismatic businessman with a shady reputation, according to a quick Google search on Sam's own phone. Marshall's online presence screamed trouble, vague business ventures, a slick persona, and rumors of questionable deals. Katie, his Katie, was entangled with this guy. He set the phone down, hands trembling. The woman he'd built a life with, the mother of their 20-year-old daughter Emma, was living a double life. Memories flooded in, late nights at work, her distracted demeanor, the way she'd brush off his questions with a smile. How had he missed this? Anger simmered, but Sam forced himself to stay calm. He wasn't the type to explode. He was a planner, a problem solver. If Katie thought she could play him, she was about to meet a side of him she'd never seen. Instead of confronting her, Sam slipped into their home office and connected her phone to his laptop. He backed up the messages, saving screenshots and photos. Every word was a dagger, but he needed evidence. He learned enough from true crime podcasts to know that emotions couldn't override strategy. If this was war, he'd fight smart. The sound of footsteps snapped him back. Katie appeared in the doorway, her auburn hair pulled into a loose bun, her expression shifting from surprise to unease. "Sam? You're home early." Her voice was too casual, like she was hiding something. "Yeah, thought I'd surprise you," he said, forcing a smile. "Big project wrapped up, so I'm free tonight." "Dinner out?" Katie hesitated, her eyes darting to her phone on the counter. "Oh, I've got a work thing. Maybe tomorrow." She grabbed her phone, clutching it a little too tightly. Sam nodded, his face a mask of calm. "Sure, tomorrow works." As she hurried upstairs, he leaned back in his chair, mind racing. He wouldn't let her see his pain, not yet. Katie thought she held all the cards, but Sam was already reshuffling the deck. That night, after Katie left for her work thing, Sam called Emma, who was studying at college a few hours away. "Hey, kiddo," he said, keeping his tone light. "Just checking in. Everything okay with you?" Emma's voice was warm but curious. "Yeah, Dad. I'm good. You sound weird. What's up?" "Just missing you," he lied. He couldn't burden her yet, not until he had a plan. "Let's catch up this weekend, okay? Maybe you can come home." "Deal," Emma said. "Love you, Dad." "Love you too." Hanging up, Sam stared at the screenshots on his laptop. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was protecting Emma, their family, their future. Katie's betrayal wasn't just a personal blow. It was a threat to everything they'd built. But Sam wasn't the type to crumble. He'd turn her lies into his leverage, and when the time came, she'd face the consequences. Sam Harrison sat in the dim glow of his home office, the clock ticking past midnight. Katie had returned from her work thing hours ago, slipping into bed without a word. He hadn't confronted her, not yet. Instead, he was building a fortress of evidence, each piece a brick in his plan to reclaim control. The screenshots from her phone were safely stored on an encrypted drive, and he'd started recording their conversations with a discreet app on his phone. Katie's lies would be her undoing, but Sam needed to be precise. The next morning, over coffee, Katie was all smiles, as if nothing had changed. "Big day at the firm?" she asked, stirring cream into her mug. "Same old," Sam replied, his tone neutral. "You?" "Meetings, deadlines," she said vaguely, avoiding his eyes. "Might be late again." Sam nodded, sipping his coffee to hide his clenched jaw. Her casual deception fueled his resolve. After she left for work, he called his lawyer, Rachel, a sharp-witted divorce attorney he'd met through a colleague. Over a secure line, he laid out the situation, Katie's affair, the texts, Marshall's shady background. Rachel listened, her voice calm but firm. "You've got solid evidence, Sam," she said. "Adultery can strengthen your case, especially if she's diverting funds or assets. Check your joint accounts. Any unusual activity?" "Not yet, but I'll dig," Sam promised. Rachel advised him to secure his finances and keep documenting. "Don't confront her until we're ready to file. Surprise is your advantage." That afternoon, Sam logged into their joint bank accounts. His heart sank as he spotted irregularities, several large transfers to an account he didn't recognize, labeled as consulting fees. Katie, a marketing manager, didn't do consulting. He traced the transactions, finding they started 3 months ago, around the time her text with Marshall began. The total? Over $20,000. Sam's anger flared, but he channeled it into action. He opened a new account in his name and transferred the remaining joint funds, leaving just enough to avoid suspicion. Rachel would ensure the move was legal, citing Katie's financial misconduct. Back at home, Sam installed a small security camera in the living room, disguised as a smart speaker. If Katie brought Marshall here, he'd have proof. He also began noting her routines, late nights, vague excuses, sudden work trips. Each detail was a thread in the web he was weaving. That evening, Katie came home, her perfume sharp and unfamiliar. She dropped her purse on the counter and glanced at Sam, who was pretending to read a book. "Long day?" he asked, keeping his voice light. "Exhausting," she sighed, but her eyes were guarded. "I'm grabbing a shower and crashing." As she headed upstairs, Sam's phone buzzed with a text from Emma. "Hey, Dad, I'm free this weekend. Coming home Saturday." "Cool." He smiled, the first real warmth he'd felt all day. "Can't wait, kiddo," he replied. Emma was his anchor, and he'd shield her from this mess as long as he could. But the calm shattered when Katie descended the stairs, dressed in a sleek black dress. "I'm heading out," she announced, grabbing her keys. "Girls' night." Sam's pulse quickened. He knew it was a lie. Her text with Marshall had mentioned a dinner tonight. "Have fun," he said, forcing a grin. "Say hi to the girls." Katie paused, her hand on the doorknob. "Sam, you don't own me," she said, her tone sharp. "I do what I want." "I'm not stopping you," he replied, meeting her gaze. "Just saying you're not with the girls." "You're seeing him, aren't you?" The air grew thick. Katie's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Sam thought she'd deny it. Instead, she stepped closer, her voice low. "Fine, Sam. You want the truth? I'm done pretending. Marshall's a real man, not some pushover. You can either deal with it or lose everything. Your call." Sam leaned back, his heart pounding but his face a mask of calm. "I choose option 3, he said softly. "There's no option 3, Katie snapped. "Accept it, or I'll divorce you and take it all, house, savings, everything." Sam stood, his voice steady. "Option 3 is you walking out that door and facing the consequences." "I'm not the one who's been lying, Katie." She laughed, a cold sound, and stormed out, slamming the door. Sam exhaled, his mind racing. Her ultimatum was a mistake. She'd shown her hand. He grabbed his phone and recorded a quick note. Katie admitted to the affair, threatened divorce. Time to move. He sent the audio to Rachel, who replied instantly. "Perfect. Keep her talking. We'll file soon." As the night deepened, Sam sat in the quiet house, staring at a framed photo of him, Katie, and Emma at a beach vacation years ago. The memory stung, but it also fueled him. Katie thought she could break him, but she'd underestimated the man she'd married. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was fighting for Emma, for justice, for the life they deserved. Tomorrow, he'd tighten the screws, and Katie wouldn't see it coming. Sam Harrison's plan was in motion, each step calculated to expose Katie's deception without tipping his hand. The Washington suburb buzzed with its usual rhythm, kids on bikes, neighbors walking dogs, but inside Sam's home, a quiet war raged. He'd secured their finances, gathered evidence, and kept his lawyer, Rachel, in the loop. Now, it was time to turn up the pressure. The next morning, Sam woke to find Katie already gone, her side of the bed untouched. A note on the kitchen counter read, "At work. Back late." He smirked, another lie. Her text with Marshall, which he'd been monitoring through a synced app, showed plans for a morning coffee date. Sam didn't confront her. Instead, he called a locksmith and had every lock on the house changed by noon. If Katie wanted to play games, she'd find the rules had shifted. That afternoon, Sam met Rachel at her downtown office. She reviewed the evidence, screenshots, audio recordings, bank statements showing Katie's secret transfers. "This is gold," Rachel said, tapping the folder. "Her affair, plus financial misconduct? We can file for divorce on favorable terms. But we need to serve her publicly, make it sting." Sam nodded, a spark of mischief in his eyes. "I've got an idea." He proposed a bold move. Serve the divorce papers at Katie's workplace, a sleek marketing firm in D.C. Rachel grinned. "I like it. Let's do it tomorrow." Back home, Sam prepared his next play. He emailed Katie a cryptic message from a burner account. "New locks, new start. Check your office tomorrow." He attached a photo of their front door, the shiny new deadbolt gleaming. Let her sweat, he thought. He also texted Emma, confirming her weekend visit. "Bring your appetite," he wrote. "We'll grill." Keeping things normal for Emma was his priority, even as the storm brewed. The following day, Sam arrived at Katie's office just before lunch, blending in with the bustling crowd. Rachel had coordinated with a process server, a cheerful woman named Linda who wore a bright smile and a navy blazer. At exactly 12:15, Linda strode into the open-plan office, calling out, "Katie Harrison?" Heads turned as Katie, mid-conversation with a colleague, froze. Linda handed her the divorce papers, her voice loud enough for nearby coworkers to hear. "You've been served." Katie's face flushed red, her eyes darting to the papers, then to her colleague's curious stares. Sam watched from a distance, his heart pounding with a mix of guilt and satisfaction. He snapped a quick photo with his phone, Katie clutching the papers, her composure crumbling, and sent it to her with a single line, "Your move." By evening, Katie was back at the house, banging on the front door. Sam opened it, standing firm. "You changed the locks," she hissed, her voice trembling with rage. "You made your choice," Sam said calmly. "This is my house now. You want in? Talk to my lawyer." Katie's eyes blazed. "You think you can humiliate me? I'll bury you, Sam. Marshall's got connections, people who can make your life hell." Sam leaned closer, his voice low. "Threaten me again, and you'll regret it. I've got everything, your texts, your transfers, your lies. Keep pushing, and you'll lose more than a marriage." Katie stormed off, tires screeching as she sped away. Sam exhaled, his hand shaking. He'd expected her anger, but her mention of Marshall's connections set him on edge. He called Rachel, updating her on the threat. "File a restraining order," she advised. "It'll limit her moves and protect you and Emma." The next day, Sam's prediction came true. Katie, desperate to regain control, ignored the restraining order and showed up at his office parking lot. In a fit of rage, she keyed his car, scratching deep lines into the paint. Unbeknownst to her, Sam had installed a dash cam, which caught every second. He sent the footage to the police, who issued a warrant for her arrest. By evening, Katie was in custody, charged with vandalism and violating the restraining order. Sam didn't celebrate. Instead, he felt a pang of sadness. This wasn't the Katie he'd fallen in love with, the woman who'd laughed at his bad puns and danced with him at their wedding. But that Katie was gone, replaced by someone who'd chosen betrayal over family. He poured a glass of whiskey and stared at the beach photo on the mantel, him, Katie, and Emma, smiling under a sunset. "What happened to us?" he whispered. As he prepared for Emma's visit, Sam got a call from Rachel. "Good news," she said. The judge reviewed the bank records. Katie's been siphoning funds for months. The court's freezing her access to any joint assets until the divorce is settled. "You're in the driver's seat." Sam hung up, a grim smile forming. Katie thought she could outmaneuver him, but she'd underestimated his resolve. The fight was far from over, and Sam was ready for whatever came next. He'd protect Emma, reclaim his life, and make sure Katie faced the consequences not out of spite, but for justice. The air in Sam Harrison's Washington home felt heavier as the divorce battle intensified. Katie's arrest for vandalism and violating the restraining order had shifted the momentum in his favor, but Sam knew the war was far from won. Marshall, Katie's lover, loomed like a shadow, his connections a vague but unsettling threat. Sam tightened security, adding cameras around the house and warning Emma to stay vigilant at college. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. He was protecting his daughter. Emma arrived that Saturday, her duffel bag slung over her shoulder and a worried crease on her brow. Over burgers on the grill, Sam kept the mood light, joking about her latest art project. But Emma wasn't fooled. "Dad, what's going on with you and Mom?" she asked, setting down her plate. "You're acting like everything's fine, but I know it's not." Sam sighed, choosing his words carefully. "Your mom and I are going through something. I'm handling it, but I need you to trust me and stay safe. If she calls, meet her somewhere public, okay?" Emma nodded, her eyes searching his. "Is she with someone else?" Sam hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, kiddo. But we'll get through this together." He hugged her, his heart aching at the pain in her expression. Emma deserved better than a mother who'd abandoned them for a man like Marshall. The next day, Sam's fears materialized. Emma called him, her voice shaky. "Dad, something weird happened. Mom asked me to meet her at a cafe, but when I got there, this guy showed up, Marshall. He started asking questions about you, like what you're planning. He tried to get me to hand over my phone, said it was for Mom's safety. I told him to back off and left, but it freaked me out." Sam's blood ran cold. "Are you okay? Where are you now?" "I'm at the dorm with friends," Emma said. "I'm fine, just rattled." "Dad, he's creepy. What's his deal?" "Stay with people, Emma. Don't go anywhere alone," Sam instructed, his mind racing. "I'm handling this." He hung up and called his lawyer, Rachel, relaying the incident. "Marshall's targeting Emma now. We need to stop him." Rachel was all business. "File a police report. That's harassment, and with Katie's restraining order violation, it builds our case. I'll push for an emergency hearing to extend the order to include Emma." Sam filed the report, providing Emma's account and the texts between Katie and Marshall, which mentioned keeping Emma in line. The police took it seriously, issuing a warning to Marshall. But Sam wasn't satisfied. Marshall was slippery, and Katie was still under his spell. He needed to outmaneuver them both. That evening, Sam dug deeper into Marshall's background, using a private investigator recommended by Rachel. The report was damning. Marshall had a history of fraud, with multiple aliases and failed businesses. He charmed his way into women's lives before, draining their accounts and disappearing. Katie wasn't his first mark, she was just the latest. Sam forwarded the report to the police, hoping it would prompt an investigation. But Marshall struck back. The next morning, Sam received an anonymous text, "Drop the divorce or Emma pays." Attached was a photo of Emma walking across campus, unaware she was being watched. Sam's heart pounded, but he didn't panic. He sent the text to Rachel and the police, who traced it to a burner phone. "We're building a case," the detective assured him. "Stay calm, keep us posted." Sam wasn't content to wait. He called a friend, Tom. A tech was who owed him a favor. "Can you trace an IP or a phone signal?" Sam asked. Tom agreed to help, hacking into public Wi-Fi logs near the cafe where Emma met Marshall. They found a digital footprint linking Marshall to the anonymous text. It wasn't courtroom evidence, but it was enough for Sam to set a trap. He leaked a fake email to Katie's account, which he still monitored, claiming he was meeting a witness at a DC restaurant that night. As expected, Marshall showed up, lurking outside with a camera. Sam, waiting nearby with a police officer, watched as Marshall was detained for questioning. The officer found the burner phone in his pocket, tying him to the threatening text. Marshall was arrested for harassment, and the police opened a fraud investigation based on Sam's PI report. Katie, blindsided by Marshall's arrest, called Sam in a panic. "What did you do?" she demanded, her voice cracking. "You're ruining everything." "You chose him, Katie," Sam said, his tone steady. "You let him go after Emma. This is on you." She hung up, but Sam knew she was rattled. He checked in with Emma, who was shaken but safe, surrounded by friends. "I'm proud of you, kiddo," he told her. "You handled it like a pro." As he sat in his living room, the beach photo on the mantel caught his eye again. Katie had crossed a line, endangering their daughter. But Sam wasn't fighting for revenge anymore. He was fighting for Emma's future. Marshall was down, but Katie was still a wild card. The final battle was coming, and Sam was ready to end it on his terms. Sam Harrison stood at the threshold of his Washington home, the weight of the past few months settling into a cautious calm. Marshall's arrest for harassment and fraud had dismantled Katie's illusions, and the divorce proceedings were nearing their end. Sam had won the house, sole custody of their financial assets, and a restraining order keeping Katie at a distance. But victory felt hollow. Emma, now back at college, was safe but distant, grappling with her mother's betrayal. Sam wanted closure, not just for himself, but for his daughter. The trial against Marshall was swift. The police, armed with Sam's private investigators' report and the burner phone evidence, uncovered a trail of fraudulent schemes. Marshall was sentenced to 5 years in prison, his charm no match for a paper trail. Katie, called as a witness, faced a harsh truth. Her lover had used her, siphoning her secret account for his own gain. In court, she avoided Sam's gaze, her face a mix of shame and defiance. Katie's own legal troubles culminated in a plea deal. For violating the restraining order and vandalism, she received a suspended sentence and 200 hours of community service. The judge, noting her cooperation in Marshall's case, urged her to rebuild her life. Sam watched from the gallery, his emotions tangled. He didn't hate Katie anymore, pity had replaced anger. She'd lost everything, her family, her pride, her future. Back home, Sam focused on Emma. They spent a weekend hiking in Shenandoah, talking about college, her art, anything but Katie. But Emma brought her up. "Dad, do you think Mom will ever change?" she asked, her voice small. Sam paused, the forest air cool around them. "I hope so, kiddo. But that's her journey. We've got ours." Emma nodded, squeezing his hand. It was enough for now. A week later, Sam found an old box in the attic while cleaning, a keepsake from their early years, containing their wedding photo and a locket Katie had worn on their honeymoon. The sight stirred memories of better days, before lies tore them apart. He made a decision, one he hadn't expected. He contacted Katie through her probation officer, arranging a meeting at a neutral cafe in D.C. "I have something of yours," he said. No strings. Katie arrived at the cafe, her hair shorter, her face bare of makeup. She looked older, worn by consequences. Sam slid the box across the table. "Your locket, some photos," he said. "Thought you might want them." She opened the box, her fingers tracing the locket. Her eyes welled up. "Why are you doing this, Sam? After everything?" "Because I'm done holding on to anger," he said quietly. "And because Emma deserves a chance to know her mom again, if you earn it." Katie's voice broke. "I messed up, Marshall. I thought he was my way out, but I was wrong. I hurt you, Emma. I don't know how to fix it." "You start by showing up," Sam said. "Write to Emma. Be honest. She's tough, but she's hurting. Give her time." Katie nodded, wiping her eyes. "I'll try. Thank you for this." She clutched the box and left, her steps hesitant but purposeful. Sam didn't expect miracles. Katie's path to redemption was her own, and he wouldn't force Emma to forgive. But he'd opened a door, a small gesture toward healing. Back home, he called Emma, telling her about the meeting. "I gave Mom her old locket," he said. "She wants to write to you. No pressure, okay? You decide what's next." Emma was quiet, then said, "Thanks, Dad. I'll think about it. Love you." "Love you too, kiddo." Sam hung up, feeling lighter. He glanced at the beach photo on the mantel, him, Katie, and Emma, frozen in a happier time. He didn't need to erase the past to move forward. He'd fought for justice, protected his daughter, and found a way to let go. Months later, Emma showed him a letter from Katie, a tentative apology filled with regret. Emma hadn't replied yet, but she kept the letter. Sam smiled, knowing it was a start. He'd rebuild his life, stronger than before, and whatever came next, he was ready. The scars remained, but so did hope for Emma, for himself, and maybe, just maybe, for the woman he'd once loved.